mawdu'i is that tafsir that you pick up one mawdu' of Quran and you start elaborating on that mawdu' and subject. So whatever ayats of Quran in whichever surah are there, so you pick up all those ayat and you talk about that tafsir. This is called tafsir al-mawdu'. And tafsir al-tafsiri is that tafsir that you start from the beginning of Quran, regardless of the mawdu', because Quran has ayat that deals with different mawdu'at. In the wisdom of Allah, there is nothing wrong. There's actually the best form of presenting the issue. But there's different subjects, there are different ayats of Quran to deal with. So in the tafsir al-tajzi'i, it means that you start the tafsir from the beginning of Quran, regardless of the mawdu' that comes in. And this is what we are doing right now. We are starting from Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the beginning of Quran, and obviously Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is the Bismillah of Surah Al-Fatiha. So it's very important to understand Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, because that's the beginning of Quran and beginning of every surah other than Surah Al-Tawbah. And we believe that the meaning properly, it will be very easy for you to understand why the meaning of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, although apparently it seems the same sentence, the meaning of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is different in every surah. So let's go one word by word to analyze this ayat of Quran. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim starts with the Ba, and Ba is what we call the smallest letter of Arabic language. It is the smallest letter of Arabic language, and this is what we grammatical. We will be talking about some grammatical things because that's Arabic. In order to understand Quran, we have to make ourselves familiar with Arabic. There is no way we can avoid grammar because Quran is in Arabic, and the grammatical things are very deep which we need to understand. Familiarize ourselves with that. In order for us to understand the Quran, there is no way you can break from Arabic and understand Quran in depth. There is no way, because simply those things have to be analyzed. So first of all, Ba is the smallest letter, and Ba, and we pronounce it as Ba, right? So it's the smallest letter in Arabic, and this is harfun jarra, which means the harf that, this is the letter that gives jar. Jar in Arabic means the tanween of kasra or the kasra at the end of the letter. So whenever the Ba comes in any letter, at the end of it, you will always have either the tanween of kasra or the kasra itself. For example, you say bil kitab. So when this Ba is here, which is on the word al-kitab, because it's harfun jarra, is the letter that gives jar. Jar means the kasra, tanween of kasra, or the kasra itself. So whenever the jar comes, whenever the letter that gives the jar at the end comes, you will always have the kasra at the end of the word. So because there's Ba in it, you will always say bil kitabi. You cannot say bil kitabo or bil kitaba, because Ba is harfun jarra, it always gives the kasra at the end. So this is why we will always read bismi. Instead of saying Bismillah or Bismillah, because Ba gives the kasra at the end. It's very, it's a harfun jarra. So when this is understood, we will also realize that so with the name of Allah. So when it is said with the name of Allah, Bismillah, with the name of Allah, it obviously means that's not a complete sentence. It's a word. It's a kalima. Kalima means a word. It's not a kalam. It's not a complete sentence. When it's the kalima, it's a word. It's incomplete without you fulfill the sentence, right? So which is the sentence that makes it complete? Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim in itself requires something else to make it complete. What is that something else? This is what we are learning tonight, one of the things that we are learning tonight. What is that something else that makes Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim to give its complete meaning? So in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, what? What are you doing in the name of Allah? Is that mentioned? In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, what are you doing in the name of Allah? Are you looking at something? Are you picking up something? Are you putting something? Are you lifting something? Are you reading something? Are you sleeping? Are you walking? What exactly are you up to with the name of Allah? That thing is not here. That thing is not written here, right? So if you will understand from where? You will understand from here, right here. This much is sufficient to teach that. Because in the name of Allah or with the name of Allah is not a complete sentence. There is something that will make it complete. So that something is required for Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. According to the rules of grammar, that something is either hidden here before the Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim, and it doesn't need to be mentioned according to the Arabic grammar. This is the sciences of Islam apply. It's either hidden, what we call mustatir in Arabic, or it is connected to the whole sentence that comes after Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim and the contents of those sentences coming after it. And this is where the role of the surah comes in. The surah that is the rest of the ayats of the surah which are mentioned after Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. Either Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim is connected with the rest of the surah that is coming after it, or there is something which is hidden here which is before Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim, and that something hidden will give the complete meaning of the sentence with the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. With the name you are doing what? So that what is mentioned either hidden there or that what is taken out from the surah after it. Now this is a little bit about Bismillah. There's so much obviously you can talk about, but I'm not talking about all those details. I'm talking about some of the details that gives you the sense of Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim before we come to Alhamdulillah. So now the next thing to understand is the word ism. Well, before we come to Allah, it's very important in Islam to understand the word ism. So, ism is translated as name in Arabic. Ism is, if you look at the Arabic grammar, it is the word ism is derived from either the root word of wasm or the root word of sumuf. This is the statement of people of Kufa, and the scholars, Arabic scholars from Kufa, Kufiyin, they say the word ism is derived from the Arabic root word of wasm, which means a sign. And the people of Basra, the scholars of Arabic belonging to the city of Basra, they say that this word ism is derived from the Arabic word of sumu, which means highness. So, how do we find out? It's very important to find out the root so you understand the real meaning of the word ism. Right? So if you know the root, it becomes crystal clear what is the meaning of the word. That's why we discuss the roots. In Arabic, we have 3 different ways in Arabic grammar to find out the root of any word. You transfer the word into the policy of transferring the word into A, either the sigha of tasghir in Arabic, or B, converting the word into the jump, the plural, or C, putting the ya on nisbah. These are the 3 ways in Arabic grammar where we transfer the words into one of those 3 forms of the word, and we will discover what's the root of any word of Arabic with a very systematic language. So now the plural of basm is awsam, so which means signs, and the plural of sumu, if you so when you make the plural of ism, it turns like asma, right? The names. So when we transfer it to one of those three situations, in this case I'm talking about the jam, or you can do the tasghir as well. For example, the tasghir will become sumay in Arabic. So this proves that the word is actually derived from this root word, not this root word which was basm. When this is known through one of those three ways, we will understand the meaning of the ism is actually the highness, is derived from the word highness, not from the word sign. So that's the word sign was used in Arabic because in old days they used to take sheep and camels and goats and deserts for, they used to rent their sheep and camels to the herdsmen to take them. And the herdsman, in order to remember which sheep, a goat or camel belongs to whom, they used to put signs, marks on each goat or camel, and those marks were called wasm, and from there they derived the word ism. The people of Kufa say like that. But this is not something which is preferred description of the name ism. The preferred description of the name is from sumu and highness. And this is where the word is taken. And we learn it through one of those three ways of the Arabic grammar, and I just explained to you through the tasghir of the word sumay. So now ism defines the person. Ism is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say Bismillah, with the name of Allah. So now the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah has 1,000 names in Dua al-Jashn al-Kabir, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 99 beautiful names. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 73 greatest names of Allah. And then the word Allah is the one that includes all the names of Allah in it. That's the most comprehensive name of Allah, because it refers to the Zat and essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the scholars of Ilm al-Irfan, or Urfa, they say the word ism is also used, and this is very important to understand what the scholars, what the Urfa have to say about this. Well, they say the word ism is used for Zatun ta'ayyun. That's what we use the name ism for, means external existences with all those sifat and attributes that they are having in them. So with the name ism, we are referring to some external existences which have some attributes or all those attributes that we are talking about. This is what the word ism, name, refers to in one Irfan. And if you remember, and so when you assign the name of somebody, you first have a thinking process. You think the mafhum and the gist of that person in your mind, and then that mafhum and idea that comes in your mind, for that idea you assign a name.
So that idea in the mind for which you assign the name, that idea comes from that external existence. So that external existence has a name. The idea that comes in your mind is the name that you assign to that in your mind, and for the name you assign in your mind, you represent that in the word form with another name. So this is what they say, the names that we are talking about is actually the name of the name of the name.
So they say that all the things that it's about ismul, ismu, ismil, ism. The external existence is there. The word, they say, Urufah said the word ism refers to a zat, an external existence in the outer world, someone with some attributes or all the attributes that we are considering for that existence. This ism refers to that, and for that you have some idea in your mind, and for that mafhum and idea that comes in your mind, which is also called an ism, you assign a word to represent that idea in your mind, and that idea in your mind refers to that name, and that name means that existence in the outside world. So this is actually ismu, ismil, ism, not the ism.
So what this
The
means?
name of the name of the name.
So what external to this world, outside of this world? What?
Any existence that you're talking about, you're assigning somebody. So in the story of Prophet Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angels, by asking the angels to name the asma haula, name of those. So those, which obviously it refers to the anwar, the mood of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So the angels were unable to even tell the name of the name of the names of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. This is how far they were from the actual knowledge. Whereas Prophet Adam actually knew the names, which means the name in Ilm al-Irfan refers to actually those personalities. And so now for them there is an imagination in the mind for whenever you assign a word. The process is like this. Whenever in any language you assign a word for a meaning, you first think that meaning in your mind, and then you assign a word for that meaning in your mind. So that meaning that comes from that external existence, that meaning that comes in your mind is called ismul ism. And then you assign a word for that, and that word is ism of the name of the name of the name. This is, so angels of Allah were even unable to even tell the name of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. This is how far their knowledge was. Whereas Prophet Adam alayhi salam was told all the names. He had that comprehensive knowledge. So now coming, this makes the thing clear that in Ilm al-Irfan, the word name actually refers to the external existence with all the sifat that we are considering, all the attributes that we are considering before assigning the name. So with the name of Allah and the word Allah, I'm not talking about all the attributes of Allah right now, it's not the time to discuss the attributes, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has attributes of His sifatul af'al, attributes of actions. Like Allah is, for example, Shafi. He's the one who gives shifa and cure. This is an action. So when Allah gives shifa, only then we call Allah is Ash-Shafi, the one who cures. This attribute was only assigned to Allah when He performs that act of giving cure to someone, right? So Ash-Shafi is an act, ismul fi'l, act of the action of Allah. It's not ismul zat. That's not the essence of Allah. So this is why we believe that Ash-Shafi is under the supremacy of the name Ar-Raziq. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Raziq because He provides the sustenance. When He provides the sustenance, some people will also get sick. They also need to be cured. So because He provides the sustenance, He's the one who's supposed to provide the shifa and cure as well. So the name Ash-Shafi
comes under the supremacy of the name Ar-Raziq. And why does Allah provide the rizq and sustenance? Because He is Al-Khaliq, He creates us. When you create something, you have to provide the sustenance and rizq for your creature as well, right? So the name Al-Khaliq, the name Ar-Raziq, sustainer, comes under the supremacy of the name Al-Khaliq. Al-Khaliq is also Ismul Fa'il, name of an attribute, of an action. Ar-Raziq is also Ismul Fa'il, name of an action of Allah. He is only called Raziq once He starts providing the rizq. He is only called Khaliq once He starts creating things. Ash-Shafi is a name, Ismul Fa'il, name of an action. He is only called, the cure provider once He starts giving the cure to the creature, at least some creatures, right? So this is how one name comes under the supremacy of the other. All the names that refer to the actions of Allah are not His essence. They're not Ayn Zat, they're not His essence. They all fall under one of the names which is the essence of Allah. I'm not using the word part of the essence of Allah because Allah has no parts. So one of the names which is the essence of Allah. So one of the names which are the essence of Allah are those which we call Sifatun Subutiyya. And we studied in the classes of Usuluddin, the Sifatun Subutiyya, the positive attributes of Allah, and Sifatun Salbiyya, the negative attributes which are not found in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Sifatun Subutiyya are the attributes which are nothing but His Zat and essence. So for example, His Hayat, the life. Allah is Al-Hayy, the living. So the Hayat and life is Aynullah, is nothing but Allah, and Allah is nothing but Al-Hayy. Likewise, Al-Alim, the knowledgeable. Ilm is the essence of Allah. So the same who is Al-Alim is the one who is Allah, and the same who is Allah is the one who is Alim. Al-Qadir, the powerful. So it's the same Qudrat and strength and power is the essence of Allah. The same Al-Qadir is Allah, and the same Allah is Al-Qadir. When we were born, we have none of the attributes. We were jahil and ignorant. We acquire the attributes later on. So this is called Zaid al-Zat, Zaid bar-Zat. These were added on our essence. Our essence was there, we were there without the attributes. Essence existed without the attributes. For Allah, it never happened that Allah was there, but His attributes were not there. It never happened like this. His attributes, which are Ayn Zat, nothing but His essence, were always in the essence, right? That's what His essence is all about. So His Qudrat, His knowledge, His Hayat, they're all part of that. So Allah, the name Allah, refers to the Al-Ismul Jami'. Shall I erase this?
Okay,
No one's taking the notes. Thank you. So the name Allah refers to it's the name which is Jami, means comprehensive, Al-Mustajmi, that gathers the Jami' Sifat al-Kamaliyya, that gathers all the attributes of perfection. So the name of Allah is a name that refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the sense that He is the one who gathers all the perfect attributes. Allah is perfection. Allah is Al-Kamal al-Mutlaq, is the absolute perfection. Al-Kamal al-Mutlaq means absolute perfection. So all the perfect attributes are there in Allah. The word Allah refers to the Zat and essence of the Creator.
And the Zat and essence has all the perfect attributes which are nothing but his essence. I will not use the word part of his essence again because the word part is insult for Allah. The word part is used for people like us who are the creatures, we are made of parts. I'm not going to use all the attributes are part of his essence. That's wrong. All the attributes are nothing but his essence. Ayn al-Zat. Now, the word Allah itself, this is about the meaning, the definition of the word Allah is this. Now, how the word Allah is formed, in Arabic we have the word al that refers to the definite article, and the word was actually ilah. That was the root of the word al-ilah. So you add the word the, which is al in Arabic, on the word ilah. This is how it happened. And so now the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is made like this. So you add the word al on ilah, and this will become al ilah, like this, right? That's the way it looks like. Now this hamza is gone, is removed because of kasratul isti'mal, means when some word is used frequently, there is a law in Arabic. In some cases the hamza drops from a word because of the abundance of usage, drops the hamza according to the law of the grammar. So this hamza is gone, is removed because kasratul isti'mal, abundance of usage. So what was left was this much, al Allah. Right, so this is how Allah, obviously when you put the lam is harfun shamsi, and we studied in the tajweed classes, when you put alif and lam on a shamsi letter, sun letter, you put a tashdid, shad on it. So this is why we write it like this, Allah, right? That's how it became Allah. Is it clear? So this is a shamsi letter. When you add al on top of a shamsi letter, sun letter, if lam is a sun letter, you will put the shad on it, you say Allah. So the word al-ilah, that was the root of the word, and the word ilah also need to be understood. It has two meanings in Arabic. One meaning of the word ilah means ma'lu, means the one who is worthy of worshipping, who is worshipped. That's one meaning of the word ilah, means Allah will means the one who is worshipped. And the second meaning of ilah means mutahayyirun fi, means someone about whom everyone is surprised. So we have tahayyur and surprise about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can't understand His essence. We are actually stopped from thinking about His essence, because essence of Allah cannot come in our minds. We cannot comprehend. Essence of Allah is limitless. A limitless thing cannot come in our minds which are limited. Thinking will make us more and more mutahayyir, more in shock and surprise, and we won't comprehend. It's not going to lead us anywhere. We are not supposed to think and focus about the Zat, think about the Zat of Allah, because we cannot comprehend it. It's limitless thing, and it cannot come in our mind. Whatever we think in our minds about Allah, it's our own imagination, our own creation of the mind. So we have been stopped in hadith. You look at abundant narrations which are stopping us. Nahjul Balagha, Imam Ali salam says the same thing. Abundant narrations are there which stop us from thinking about how is the Zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we will have tahayyur, our tahayyur will increase. And so mutahayyirun fi means someone about whom there is tahayyur and surprise. The more you think about his Zat, the more you will have surprise about him and you won't understand. We are unable, no creature can understand the Creator's complete essence in the comprehensive sense of the word. It's impossible to be understood. The essence is limitless, and we are limited beings. We cannot fathom and measure and encompass the limitless. So these are the two meanings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Two meanings for the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word ilah is not haram to be used for non-Allah. You can use it, we are using it. Even the Holy Quran uses the words or derivatives of this word for, that's okay to use it, right? Just like Ar-Rahman is haram to name your child Ar-Rahman, because that's a specific name of Allah. Likewise, it's haram, it's not allowed to name your child Allah. That's a specific name of Allah only, right? You can name your child Rahman, because this now is not specific. If you remove the al, the definite article is no longer remains specific. You can name your child Rahman. But if you name your child Ar-Rahman, that's totally wrong, because Ar-Rahman is only Allah. So ilah likewise can be used for non-Allah, the false gods. But Allah, when you put the al on it, it cannot be used for anyone other than Allah. Even the Holy Quran, I have here some of the verses of Quran to give you the heads up. Allah says in La tattakhidhu ilahayn ithnayn. In Surah Al-Nahl, verse 51, Allah says, don't take two gods. In other words, says, have you seen the one who has chosen his desire to be his Lord? His ilah. So, ilah, the word is there mentioned in Quran, used for other than Allah. So, this is not ismun khas. This is a general name that can be used for Allah as well. But once you put Allah, it is no longer a general name. It is a specific name. Allah is specific for Allah only, just like Ar-Rahman is specific for Allah only. You cannot name your child to be Ar-Rahman. Now the meanings of Allah, I already defined the definition of Allah. He has all the attributes of perfection, which are nothing but His essence. His essence and attributes are one and the same thing. We are talking about the attributes of the essence. We are not talking about attributes of the actions. Attributes of the actions of Allah are not His essence. I already explained to you, Al-Khaliq is not the essence of Allah. Al-Khaliq, He's called Al-Khaliq, the creator, only when He started the creation, not before that. Ar-Raziq is not the essence of Allah. He is called Ar-Raziq, sustainer, when He started to provide the rizq and sustenance. Only then we call Him Ar-Raziq. Since then we call Him Raziq, not from ever. And likewise, Ash-Shafi, for example, the one who cures. We only call Allah Ash-Shafi since when He started to give the shifa, not since ever. So these are not the essence of Allah. Whereas, Sifatul Kamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are Ain Zat, are nothing but His essence. Like I gave you examples of ilm, knowledge, qudrat of Allah, hayat, hikmat, wisdom of Allah. These are essence of Allah. So, since Allah was there, He was there from ever, since ever, forever. So He always had. It's part of this, is the essence of Allah.
But wasn't he Shafi as well at the same time?
No. He's called Shafi since He started to give the shifa.
But that attribute existed in him.
No, that attribute falls under the supremacy of the another name. This is why, this is a very huge discussion. This is why we call, there are 73 Al-Ism Al-Azam, the greatest names of Allah. We have all the names of Allah. We don't call all the names to be Al-Azam, the greatest. Some names are lesser, some names are of the medium level, some names are the further, higher level, and some are the highest. So if each name, depending on the meaning, falls under another higher name, higher category name. Then higher category name falls another higher category name until you reach the names and the attributes and the names which are His essence. those are the highest names of Allah. And the highest names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are His essence. So all the rest of the af'al and actions that He performs, then He's running the universe based on one or several, each of the actions that Allah is doing, which are countless actions that He's doing. Somebody is given shifa, somebody is being made sick, somebody dies, somebody, is given new life, somebody, some person is punished, some people, so many countless actions are done non-stop, 24/7, 365 by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of those countless actions that He is doing, all those af'al and actions that He's doing are governed by sifatul af'al, attributes of the actions, and all the sifatul af'al, attributes or actions fall under, under another name of Allah, and that another name falls maybe another higher name, and the higher name falls under the greatest name of Allah, and the greatest names of Allah are what we call al-ismul a'zam. So if somebody is the madhar and reflection of a shafi, if a human being is so purified in his soul, he's the madhar of the name ash-shafi, the one who cures. With the izn and permission of Allah, this individual can show karamat and cure the people, because he is the madhar of the name ash-shafi. So, but this is a very lesser level name, right? If somebody is the mother of the name Ar-Razik of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he belongs to a higher level. If somebody is the mother of Al-Khaliq, he belongs to a further higher level. If somebody belongs to he is the mother of the name Al-Qadir of Allah, which is His essence, His power and realm is so huge that it is limitless, because Al-Qadir is the essence of Allah, and essence of Allah is limitless, so the power of this individual will be limitless. If somebody becomes the mother of the name Al-Alim, Al-Alim of Allah, because ilm is the essence of God, and His essence is limitless, His knowledge is limitless as well. So if somebody is mother of one name Al-Alim, this individual has limitless powers. Because ilm and qudrat is one, qudrat and ilm is one, ilm and Allah is one, Allah and ilm is one, ilm and hikmat, wisdom is one, hikmat and ilm is one. They are all, the attributes of essence are nothing but His essence. They are all one. So somebody becomes madhar and reflection of any of the names which are His essence, this individual has limitless powers of Allah. There is no comparison between his powers and the individual who is the madhar and reflection of only one name, Ash-Shafi, a curer, because that belongs to a very lesser level. So it depends on which name falls under which. So now coming back to the point I was mentioning to you was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, Allah, is the one which is the most comprehensive, and because it includes all the attributes of perfection. This is the reason why it's most comprehensive. Ash-Shafi is not a comprehensive name of Allah. The curer, Al-Khaliq is not a comprehensive name of Allah, the creator. Likewise, for example, Al-Muntaqib. Al-Muntaqib is not the avenger, the one who takes revenge. It's not a comprehensive name of Allah. It talks about one action of God only. It's not a comprehensive name. Allah includes all the attributes in it, so that is the comprehensive name.
So at the highest level, at the highest hierarchy, all 73 attributes, Allah includes.
Allah includes all the attributes, correct.
And
Now, what are the greatest names of Allah? Actually, we don't know. Al-Ismul Azam, we don't know what are the Ismul Azam. We know the names of Allah, correct. The names of Allah are not hidden. Thousands of those are mentioned in Dua al-Jahri Kabir alone. But do we know Al-Ismul Azam? No. Ismul Azam is actually, unlike how people perceive, some people perceive that it's a name. It's actually not just a name, because if you're talking about the names are not hidden. It's all mentioned there in the books, it's available. Even the non-Muslims have access to it. It's about practicing the implications of every name in our everyday life. When we do that, when we practice one name, then we become madhar and reflection of that one name. So Ismul Azam is actually our actions. When a person practices the greatest names of Allah in his everyday life and its implication in his everyday life, then that nur is now penetrating into his soul and he becomes madhar and reflection of those greatest names. When you become madhar and reflection of the greatest names, that's where you start showing miracles. So the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt are the greatest because they have all the greatest, 72 of the 73 Al-Ismul Azam, greatest names of Allah, because they have practices. So Ismul Azam is actually our action, the practice, purification of the soul, practice of the highest possible level, practicing the implications of each name. Every name has an implication in our life. Let me explain, you will understand from the upcoming discussion of what's the meaning of applications of each name. You will understand from this discussion. Let's move forward to Ar-Rahman. So Ar-Rahman, is first of all, it's Siratul Mubalagha, the tense of exaggeration in Arabic, and Ar-Rahim is the tense of Sifatul Mushabbaha. That's another thing in Arabic grammar. So Rahman means someone who has kasrat, abundance of Rahman. And Rahim is someone who has specific Rahman, specific mercy with endurance. In Arabic we say dawam. That's the difference between these two kinds of Rahman. Why those two words are constantly repeated in the Holy Quran, Rahman, Rahim, Rahman, Rahim, because those are two different mercies. They're not one mercy. They're talking about two different things. You need to understand properly. Rahman refers to, it's a different tense of Arabic, that refers a tense of exaggeration with mubalagha, which means an abundance of Rahman, abundance of mercy. And this Rahmat, when we talk Allah Rahman, this is called, Ismun Khas. So this is a name which is specific to Allah. Sifatun Amma means with a general application. General application means the word Rahman, when we say Ar-Rahman, it refers to that mercy of Allah which includes everyone. Everyone means that includes a mu'min, a kafir, mercy that is there in dunya, the life of this world, and akhirat, the life of the hereafter. This is what it means. This is what it means when we say Sifat al-Amma, mercy which is general, in the general sense. General, what does it mean, general sense? That means that kind of, when we say Ar-Rahman, we are talking about that kind of mercy of Allah only, that kind of mercy of Allah which includes everybody. He provides the mercy towards the believers and the disbelievers, and the mercy that He's providing in the life of this world and in the Akhirah. For all are included. This is not the mercy parallel to the ghadab and wrath of Allah. No. So this is not, the opposite of this is not the wrath and ghadab of Allah. It is not parallel to the concept of ghadab. Okay? Actually, this mercy of Allah is all inclusive. It's not parallel to ghadab. You are angry upon some people and you are merciful towards some other people. This is not the kind of mercy we are talking about in Ar-Rahman. That is opposite of being upset and angry over some people. We are talking about that specific kind of, that general kind of mercy which is all inclusive. The name Ismun Khas, we call it Ismun Khas because the name is specific to Allah only. You cannot name your son Ar-Rahman. You can name your son Rahman without Al, because with Al, the definite article, it becomes specific to Allah only.
without the definite article al, by removing the, if you say Rahman, then it's no longer specific to God. You can name your son Rahman. So if you say Ar-Rahman, it's becomes specific to God and it becomes Ismun Khas, means a specific name of Allah only, and it's not allowed to name your son Ar-Rahman. So it's a specific name, but the application, Sifat al-Amma means application is all inclusive. That's a rahmat that includes everybody. So Ar-Rahim, on the contrary, is the one, that rahmat of Allah which comes in parallel to ghadab and wrath of Allah. So Allah is angry upon some people because of their wrong beliefs and wrong actions, and Allah is merciful towards some people because of their good beliefs and good actions. So those people who are mu'mins, the specific mercy of Allah that Allah provides to the mu'mins only it comes under the name of Ar-Rahim. Okay, so we call it Ismun Am. It's a general name. General name, why do we call it general name? Because it's allowed for you to name your son Ar-Rahim. That's not a specific name of Allah only. Ar-Rahman is a specific name of Allah only. Allah is a specific name of Allah only. So it's not allowed to name your son. Ar-Rahim is not a specific name of Allah only. So it's allowed for you to name your son Ar-Rahim. This is why it's called Ismun Am. But it is Bismillah Khassa. The application is specific. Application is specific means this, we are talking about that specific mercy of Allah only that He provides to the mu'min people. Now let's go to the applications. So we say how we become the madhar of the name of Allah when you understand and you practice the implications of every name in our everyday life. So when we say Allah is Ar-Rahman, so He provides mercy to the kafirs and the mu'mins. So are we ready to do that in our life? So Imam Hussain alayhi salam was slaughtered by Shimr. Now the hand of Shimr, which is moving to slaughter Imam Hussain, this movement of the hand is a blessing of Allah. And this strength and power in the hand to move is a blessing and ni'mat of Allah. Who is the one who gives that ni'mat to Shimr? Allah is giving that ni'mat, right? Shaitan cannot give. Shaitan has no power. He can only provoke bad ideas, that's it, nothing more. So who's giving this blessing to the hand of Shimr? Allah. And Allah gives every blessing to the Imam of the time, and Imam of the time distributes the blessings to the universe. Imam of that time was Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain is being slaughtered. So Imam Hussain, who is being slaughtered, is transferring the ni'mat and blessing of Allah to Shimr, the person who is slaughtering him, Imam Hussain. This is where our scholars say, our Ma'sumeen alayhi salam, their walayat stands for the walayat of Allah. Loving them is equal to loving Allah. Supporting them is equal to supporting Allah. Because every blessing that they received from Allah, they didn't even do khiyanat and breach of the covenant towards transferring the ni'mat and blessing to their worst of the enemies, even though the same enemies were slaughtering the Imams. Imam did not even block that ni'mat of Allah, which belonged to that kind of rahmat and mercy which relates to the name Ar-Rahman, which is all-inclusive. And Allah is the one, according to His wisdom, who is providing that blessing uninterrupted to His enemies. That blessing also comes through to the Imam, and then he distributes to the universe. And among the universe is his own enemy who is slaughtering him. So Imam Hussain is the one who is giving the strength into the hand of Shimr. Is he stopping that blessing of Allah? No. Why should he stop? He is the madhar of the ism of the name Ar-Rahman. He knows to whom give the rahmat, to what extent and how much Allah is willing to give. He is also willing to transfer the same blessing of Allah to the same extent, even to the enemies. This is something which is unfathomable for us. And we cannot even understand. Honestly speaking, this is a very small example to make you realize we cannot understand the complete scope, because Ar-Rahman is the specific name of Allah that refers to the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we cannot understand the complete scope of the name Ar-Rahman, and it's impossible for us to understand the complete scope of the word Ar-Rahman. When we can't even understand the complete scope of the word Ar-Rahman, how can we be able to provide exactly the same blessing that Allah is giving, at all times, at all moments, to all those whom Allah is giving, uninterrupted, even those people who may be our enemies? We don't even understand. How can we do that? Doing it is the next step of first we need to understand. We don't even understand that much. We don't have that much knowledge to understand for whom Allah wants to give this kind of blessing uninterrupted. We don't even know that much knowledge. So how can we practice that when we don't even understand that much? So understanding the application of Ar-Rahman is beyond our reach. Practicing is obviously impossible. So it's not an emotional thing when we talk about the highness of Ahl-Bayt. It's not emotional. Now coming to Ar-Rahim, that is a general name. It's allowed to name your son Ar-Rahim because it's not a specific name, although it's a general name, but the application is specific. So we are talking about a specific blessing of Allah, not the all-inclusive blessing. That specific blessing, this is for mu'min people only. This is in parallel to ghadab and wrath. For some people, Allah is angry, He has His wrath. For some, Allah has His specific mercy, which is